All right, folks. Now, before we go any further with Betty White, I wanted to have a quick conversation with you surrounding project direction, okay? You can see over my shoulder here, we still have quite a laundry list of things to do. But this came to me during the phone conversation that I had with the owner of this lovely ride here today, and I thought it's probably worth me sharing it with you guys because it is a bit of a psychological exercise whenever you're dealing with a project car. So what's going on here is this car is brand new to the owner. I don't know what length of time he's actually owned it, but I know it's very short. Okay, so let's just say he's had it a few months and not very mechanically inclined. I mean, I think he's mechanically inclined, but more scared of his abilities and therefore wants me to do what I'm doing with it versus him going down the garden path and getting himself into trouble and potentially messing something up. So anyway, here we are, and he is depending on me to, I guess, help direct the ship, right? As we navigate through these very dark waters at times. At the same time, he wants to get the most value for his money, right? So it can be a little bit of a recipe for disaster because you can get really carried away with what you want to do versus what you should do versus you can look at this so many different ways. So some of the things that are under discussion here, and I mentioned at the beginning of this video, was like changing out the water pump. Now, this water pump, for what it's worth, does look as though it's been changed at some point in time. However, there's indications that it's not leaking, but we're getting into that sweaty territory, okay? And it sounds funny to define leaks in different ways, but it does matter, right? Because it ultimately helps you dictate what direction you should go with something. Now, behind that water pump is the timing cover. And above that water pump, or roughly, off to the north, kind of west, is the thermostat. And then in behind and above all that is the intake manifold. And the timing cover seems to be the area in which things are getting the most sweaty, okay? So what do? Do you change the water pump? Because there's really no sense in taking this water pump off and not putting another, like a newer one on just to get yourself a fresh start. So if you take the water pump off to chase the timing cover gasket, you may as well put a water pump on it, right? Once the timing cover's off, you check the timing chain. This thing's maybe getting a little stretched, right? Let's put a timing set in it. And then, well, while we're in there, should we maybe pull the cam? I don't know. Okay. And then while we're in there, right, we got all the coolant out of it. We may as well throw a thermostat gasket on it, a new thermostat. And then we get all the way in there and we go, you know what? This leak was actually coming from the lower intake manifold, right? Maybe the front china wall's leaking a little bit and, or seeping out, in the corners of the heads where the intake meets the heads. The can of worms that one would open is mind-boggling. And now, pause that for a moment and think to yourself, if all of this was being done just to chase a little bit of a sweat style leak, what's the benefit in spending all of that money chasing what could be never-ending problems when you're not prepared to add any new exciting oomph to the car, right? Because we're not intending on putting a camshaft in this car right now. We're not intending on putting heads or an intake on it. Down the road possibly, but we're not right now. We're really just chasing these sweaty leaks because, again, want to get the most bang for the buck, don't want to deal with little drips on the floor going forward, especially when this car has come to me from about 6 or 7 hours away too, right? So what you get done during the visit matters. Anyway, how we settled all this, and this is, I guess, the point in the rant where I guess you could take this or chalk this up as advice, is I said, you know what? I need to look at this as if it was my car. Would I use my own time, which is technically free to me? Would I use my own time to chase these sweaty leaks? The answer is no. That has been the answer that we've moved forward with, and we are going to just kind of do this with the sweaty leaks, right? Because I just don't see the value in it. Like, and sounds maybe crazy, because I mean, I'm quite literally talking myself out of work here, but I just don't see the value in it for the client, in all honesty. None of these leaks, in my opinion, are going to turn themselves into catastrophic blowout leaks. I mean, I'm 99.9% sure of that. I can't guarantee things, right? But I'm 99.9% sure that none of these leaks are going anywhere from what they already are. And why would we spend all that money just to put like 25-cent gaskets in there? You know, like money and labor, money and time. So you can apply this style of thinking to like every component of a hot rod build, right? These aren't our daily drivers, at least in most cases. That's a little bit of a different scenario, right? Because if you lose a water pump while you're trying to get to work, well, now you're stranded, now you're not getting to work the next day, or you got to rent a car, ask a friend, whatever. These are just hot rods that sit in our garage and we go out on Sundays and cruise in them. So are any of these things catastrophic issues? The answer is no. And so it was my opinion that we skip a lot of this. We leave the water pump that he's already sent me in the box, and we'll leave it in the trunk, and we'll just keep it for next time, because we're not real clear on the end goal or what the next stages of this car build may be, but it will most likely involve a whole bunch of engine upgrades. And at that point in time, we'll just pull this motor right out of here, right? And who knows, maybe we decide at the time, we're not even going to mess with this motor. We're just going to package it up and somebody can have it for whatever they want to pay for it. And we drop in a little 347, right? And call it a day. So, I don't know. This is kind of that never-ending story where you just constantly chase your tail, trying to figure out the best path forward. But I thought I'd share with you the path forward that we've come up with, in the hopes that maybe it helps some other people out there too, if they're sitting around getting themselves into a new little hot rod addition to the family like this fella has, and just the best way to spend your money wisely. Because the last thing you want to do is, well, get yourself way, 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 way down the rabbit hole. And or, while you're doing that, you need to ask yourself, am I going to be crossing a lot of these bridges twice? And what's the cost in doing so? And can I put up with what's going on with it now, with the intention of fixing all of that later when it's actually justifiable and we can get more bang for our buck and have more fun and go faster and make more noises and all that good stuff? So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I didn't write any of that down. I'm sure it was a little bit all over the place, but like I say, wanted to share it with you guys in the hopes that maybe it helps somebody else clear a bit of a path moving forward in their hot rod build.